Jonathan, hold me! This is a lot faster than I thought!
Inside his small shop, Greg Black shapes sound by creating brass mouthpieces.
Chris and Mary, as you can see, I'm still riding, I'm still going, and I'm trying to get on this guy's good side.
Pictures of Charlie and Janet Brown from 70 years ago are very similar to pictures of them through the years. They either have their arms around one another or are holding hands.
I always do that, especially when we're out walking and what have you.
As the confetti flies for driver A.J. Allmendinger, Logan springs into action. He has about a minute to take pictures around the car, capturing every dent, ding, scuff, and piece of confetti on the car. His pictures are then uploaded to the design team just down the street at Lionel headquarters.
Today, Dolly was here, and I got a chance to talk to her.
This resort is absolutely gorgeous. I want you to talk to me about the name Heart Song.
Well, it's called Heart Song because I have a song called Heart Song.
I'm up here in the cab, but the actual driver of Monster Mutt Dalmatians, Jamie Sullivan, she let me up here. What's going to happen next? We'll find out.
I probably shouldn't be out here again.
Garrett Huffman is probably as comfortable on stage as he is in his bedroom.
I probably should have kept on singing your favorite song.
It's the place where he learned to play guitar just 4 years ago.
Today marks the final day for our veteran reporter David Wisnit's career.
Around here, he's known as Wiz, and he spent the last 32 years working at WBTV, both full-time and part-time, covering every type of story imaginable. But if you have watched David through the years, you know he's a huge fan of racing and Richard and Kyle Petty.
So before we say farewell, we had to give him a bit of a surprise.
Sorry. It's you guys. What? What? Guys.
Thanks to our friends at Charlotte Motor Speedway, we were able to surprise him. We showed you a little snippet of this a few weeks ago. Wiz thought he was at the racetrack covering another story, but when he walked in, the Pettys were waiting, and the drivers turned the tables on the reporter.
So you've been coming to Charlotte Motor Speedway a long, long time. So tell me about your first experience here.
My dad, I'm gonna cry.
That's all right, man.
I was in elementary school, and it was a Wednesday because qualifying was on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And they called me to come to the office. I was 10 years old. And they said, your dad's here to pick you up. And I thought, well, okay. We got in the car, Pontiac Bonneville, 1969. And we came to the Speedway, and he said, we're going to go to qualifying. And I was just over the top. I was so excited because I'd never been to the track before. And you're my hero, obviously still are. We came down here to watch qualifying, and all I wanted to see was 43. I didn't care about any of those other cars. And Charlie Glotzbach won the pole in that white Chevy Monte Carlo, number 3.
Yeah.
And he won the pole. And my dad had a movie camera, and I took the camera, and the only shots I got were of the blue Plymouth going around the track. I didn't shoot Charlie, I didn't shoot Pearson, who cares? All I wanted to see was Petty.
No way.
How did you get to be a Richard Petty fan?
I really don't know. I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what. My brother, when I was about 5 or 6 years old, he went to Petty Enterprises. Like people would just go.
Yeah.
And you had a big junk pile out in the back, this real big pile of just stuff.
Yeah, I left a bunch back there.
Yeah.
Well, my brother asked if he could go back there and look for just anything, and you apparently told him he could. So he goes back there and he gets a door off the 64 Plymouth with the hand-painted white 43.
Yeah, with the numbers painted on it. Yeah.
I still got it. I've got it at home.
No way, man. Besides that first one, what are some of your favorite memories here?
Are we really doing this? Is this really happening? Two of my favorite memories obviously involve both of you. One of them, the '83 fall race. I have to tell you this, and this is going to make me emotional, but my dad passed away in February of '87.
Yeah.
And if I'm not wrong about this, you won the Coke 600.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was here, and that made me very emotional.
No way.
Because he had just passed away, and you won the race and had such a strong car. And that was the Wood Brothers car.
Wood Brothers car.
And that was great, and I'd say those are my two favorite.
Inside his small shop, Greg Black shapes sound by creating brass mouthpieces, from trumpet to trombone and every other brass instrument. Greg and his team can craft it.
Greg's mouthpieces are some of the nicest craftsmanship mouthpieces that I've personally played. They're very, very consistent.
Jeremy Marks would know. He plays trombone and teaches the instrument at UNC Charlotte.
The weight of the mouthpiece, the length of the mouthpiece, all these things make differences in the way that the sound is perceived, not just from the performer, but also for the audience. And they know exactly what to do to the mouthpiece to get you to that goal.
With every turn of the lathe, Greg shapes the brass. He loves music, a love that can be traced back to his parents.
My dad was a trombonist and my mom was a vocalist trumpet player, played piano, and they met in Virginia at a conservatory.
His love for crafting mouthpieces was born in New York City, working for a band instrument company in the 80s. Greg honed his craft and started his own business. Famous musicians took notice and showed up at his door.
There was standing Dizzy Gillespie right in front of me. I couldn't believe it.
It was the legend himself in a blue leather suit.
So we made him a mouthpiece, and long story short, he took it on tour and loved it, and that's what he finished his career on.
He's also crafted for Rashawn Ross of the Dave Matthews Band and Kenny Rampton. You might not know his name, but you'll recognize who he plays for. Yes, he's the trumpet player for the Sesame Street Band. Greg moved the business from New York back home to Mount Holly in 2014. Today, he has a small team of craftsmen to help him produce the hundreds of different mouthpieces.
And every single one of them that you see is a little different. You know, some of them are for different instruments, of course, different sized instruments. Like, you know, a different mouthpiece is going to be for trumpet than trombone. Everybody has different features and things. Everybody breathes differently. And so we try to accommodate that.
Accommodating those different features is a multi-step process. From the part you can see, where you put your mouth, to the internal part of the mouthpiece. Every cut has to be precise. Creating a single mouthpiece can take hours.
We'll polish it, stamp it with my name, and then the model number. Once that exterior is done, then we take it into the buffing room to polish it, and then we ship it out for silver and gold plating.
The end result, a beautiful piece of craftsmanship that will help the musicians craft their sound.
We're all musicians, so I think that helps in terms of knowing what the demands of the musician is going to need, require, as far as the consistency and quality. That's what we really pride ourselves on.
In Mount Holly, I'm Brian Stephenson for QC Life. When the checkered flag falls on this race, a new race begins. To recreate the winning car exactly as it looked when it crossed the finish line, the Lionel Company in Concord makes them in die cast, done by pouring molten metal into a mold.
There's fans of the drivers, of course, there's fans of the teams. And they want to celebrate those wins with the driver. And they want the absolute most authentic version of the car that can be created.
Most people know Lionel for their model trains, but 13 years ago they added race cars to the product line. Creating that authenticity is a painstaking, months-long process that starts at the track. I tagged along with photographer Logan Arcee at Charlotte Motor Speedway. During the race, he's busy taking pictures of cars on the track.
As soon as checkered flag goes, when the real action happens, to make it from pit road to victory lane and trying to fight your way through all the people, it gets pretty hectic. And then I'm there to do a 360 reference shot of the entire car so they can render it for a die cast.
As the confetti flies for driver AJ Allmendinger, Logan springs into action. He has about a minute to take pictures around the car, capturing every dent, ding, scuff, and piece of confetti on the car. His pictures are then uploaded to the design team just down the street at Lionel headquarters.
You have to look for the stuff that really stands out. So you have to attack that first, and then once you have the big pieces of damage done, then you have to go in and you got to find the little stuff that you can still make sure will show up on the car.
AJ, how excited are you to get a die cast of this car?
I didn't think about that. I don't have many die casts of Cup wins, so I love it.
Kevin Bloom is one of the designers at Lionel. He uses the reference pictures taken at the track to recreate everything from damage to dirt, even shredding tires if a driver does a burnout after the race.
So we have, on the reference art here, we actually have a tire rub mark on the Brandt logo on the rocker panel.
This is the work that Kevin did on Justin Allgaier's car from his win in May. After all that work, a prototype comes in. We were there when Justin got to see it for the first time.
When you win with any car, it's really cool, but this car especially was really, really neat for me. But to see the tire marks, I mean, even to the detail of, we run a little stripe on the bottom of the side of our car, and it was worn off on the front, like that's gone. You know, the rub mark on the wall, I brushed the wall at one point, and I hope that the fans enjoyed it as much as I do.
From checkered flag to fans' hands takes 6 to 9 months.
We try to match it as close as possible because, especially now, we put the photos out there for the fans, so we know that there's going to be a high expectation.
Those high expectations can preserve memories for drivers and collectors like Connor.
What you see in Victory Lane, you can order and display the same car with the confetti and everything in your own display case and in your own house.
He has over 1,000 replicas in his mini museum.
These are all for the most part, all my race wins. Some of them I've been to, some of them I've just collected depending on the paint scheme.
And for him, one driver is special.
So this case right here, and up on top and in the corner here is kind of my AJ collection.
Allmendinger gets his own case, and that gets a rewind. Back to the fall race in Charlotte. AJ won, remember? Connor and his wife made their way right into the middle of the celebration. Imagine how it will feel adding that car to the collection. Pictures of Charlie and Janet Brown from 70 years ago are very similar to pictures of them through the years. They either have their arms around one another or are holding hands.
I always do that, especially when we're out walking and what have you. But I always tell her every day that I love her.
They met in high school, started dating, then Charlie went into the Navy. So they got married when he was home on a 15-day leave.
We had a 3-day honeymoon to Chimney Rock.
Yeah, I did see her again for 8 months.
Since day one, they made a commitment that has been one of their keys to success.
Let me say that when we first got married, I looked at Charlie, he looked at me, and said, leaving is never an option. And that's been true. If we have something that bothers us, we wait, we talk about it.
Another key is their faith.
We started going to church when we were married. We've been in church every Sunday unless we were sick or something happened. We commit to the church, we support the church.
They have shared their faith and lessons learned in marriage with hundreds of college students around this table over the years.
If you gather somebody at your house to eat, they will listen to what you have to say. And they will look at the life that you're living. It gave us a chance to talk about marriage and how long we'd been married, how we had done it, and find out what they were interested in.
And they have a piece of wisdom that has served them well before their heads hit the pillow for the past 70 years.
Every day before you go to bed, make sure that you're not mad at each other. Make sure that any disagreements have been resolved and you can go to bed happy.
And I tell her every day that I love her and always have and always will. And I kiss her goodnight every night.
That's true.
$70 thought we beat the heat. Driving by our old place, bitter but sweet. You just never liked us staying out late. I knew what they thought, though I wasn't too great. No, I wasn't too great. When time went slow, our love went fast. Not afraid of tomorrow, not afraid of the past. With the windows down, speeding ticket on the dash. We could do no wrong. If love was money, then we had enough. We like to roll dice, like the edges counter up. Out of all of the lovers, we thought we were the best. We were different from the rest. Wanna be cautious was your maiden name. Reckless and free, I changed it that day. Do you remember the first time we said I do? It might have been a joke, but we both knew what was happening. Two kids drunk on love in the middle of spring. When time went slow, our love went fast. Not afraid of tomorrow, not afraid of the past. With the windows down, speeding ticket on the dash. We could do no wrong. If love was money, then we had enough. We like to roll dice, the edges counter up. Out of all of the lovers, we thought we were the best. We were different from the rest. Yeah, we were. When time went slow, our love went fast. Not afraid of tomorrow, not afraid of the past. With the windows down, speeding ticket on the dash. We could do no wrong. If love was money, then we had enough. We like to roll dice, like the edges counter up. Out of all of the lovers, we thought we were the best. We were different from the rest. We were different from the rest. We were different from the rest.